Welcome everybody to this new Business Telling talk. My name is Antonio, Business Telling founder, and today I'm very happy and glad to have with us Francesco Abbate, a serial entrepreneur living in Geneva. Ciao Francesco.
Hey Antonio, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Francesco, as I said, you are a really serial entrepreneur. You have been working on many different ventures. We have also been working together on a few projects. And I would be very happy if you share a bit more about your background, how we met, but also, where you're focusing on today.
Sure. In my previous life, before being an entrepreneur, I spent 15 years in Procter & Gamble as a finance director in different countries, Italy, Spain, Geneva, for a long time. That's when we met. So after 15 years in P&G, I started having interest in building something on my own. And in particular, I started in 2016, studying and getting more interest into the world of blockchain and cryptocurrency, which today sounds almost normal, but I can guarantee 5 years ago was a kind of a Wild West. At a certain point, I just saw a bigger opportunity in leaving P&G for starting to build companies in this space, and I can tell you more about it. And the journey started since then. Actually, you never really leave P&G to build your company. You leave employment to build entrepreneurship, and that's a different journey, because you think you're building something, or you think you're going to do that, and then you pivot and have different interests, meet different people, build different things. So on one side, it's important to remain focused, but the thinking that you are going to find this company to do this particular thing or service or product, it's 99% wrong, and you will do something else. The reality is you're becoming an entrepreneur, and that's a very different journey. I actually started being an entrepreneur in a different field. I created with a couple of friends a brand in the food supplement business based on orthomolecular medicine, with assets in Eastern Europe. We didn't find a winning business model, and we closed the business, which was break-even after a few years. Then in the same period, I started the other first company in the cryptocurrency space. It was a trading service for cryptocurrency. We're talking 4 years ago. So very different business, very different worlds. We had put in place a structure of analysts and trading signals with a subscription business model, which we stopped when the market started being bearish in 2018. And in 2018, I actually started the company where I'm still a partner. That's called Swiss Crypto Advisors. The company created one of the first and still running cryptocurrency hedge funds. And again, think about the time. We built that in 2017. At the point in time in Switzerland, we could barely open a bank account because we had crypto in the name. So every bank turned us down. We ended up with a smaller bank in Lugano. And if you fast forward a couple of years later, all the major banks now have business relationships with the company. The company is going well. It's up and running, doing different very cool things in the blockchain space. I am still a partner. I have less of an executive role in the company because in the meantime, I fell in love with another amazing project more in the ESG and sustainability space, which is called REBO, which was created in 2019, although the real journey started almost a couple of years before with another friend and previous partner in Procter & Gamble. And REBO is the first smart bottle that cleans the planet as we drink. That's being launched, and it's now going to be scaled up in multiple jurisdictions with very nice partnerships. So I did different things. Some of them, a few of them failed. Some others are going very well. In all of them, I learned a lot, and I keep a lot of learnings in current and potentially future companies I'm going to fund and work with.
Wow, that's definitely, I was right when I was saying that you are a serial entrepreneur. Many different projects and many different industries, great learnings. And Francesco, at the beginning, you said something that I resonate with quite a lot, because I have a similar journey when I left, the corporate world to start my entrepreneurial journey. And if I understood correctly, you said that, entrepreneurship is a state of mind, is a mindset, is a way you look at things. And you've seen in many different projects you led, and also many different projects that you advisor. And as I said, we've been also working together on few optimization of pitch decks, applying BusinessTelling to different ventures. And my question for you is, many times when we talk with entrepreneurs, they have great ideas, but sometimes they are lacking in their capabilities to bring this idea to life. It's a kind of, they have something in mind, the idea is inspiring, the idea is insightful, whatever, but they are missing somehow, the link, the story to bring the idea down. So when we help them, we try to help them, to be effective. My question for you is, how would you define a business story that is effective? When for you, business storytelling, or this capability to turn an idea into result, into a real story, becomes effective? Which are the key elements?
Sure, no, it's a good point. And indeed, I think in every single company, maybe not in the food supplement one, I had the chance to use your help, and I'll keep using your help. And every time I did, you change something for the best. So that's something which I really want to continue. When it comes to business telling, that per se is something that people should know it exists. And for example, I've been doing also venture capital in the blockchain space, and I've been reading, I read tons of pitch decks, often built by engineers, that starts the deck with amazing, incredible, complex equations or smart contracts or things which I can barely read myself. And after 10 slides, you're like, okay, but what are you building? Tell me in a sentence, what are you going to do? Is it a product, a service, an app? What is it? Don't start with the technicalities. And one thing which I really appreciate in a business telling and in a pitch deck is two things. One, start with the end in mind. So tell me the end goal. Tell me what you're going to do. I'm building this to do X better, cheaper, faster than anyone else. Fine. I get it. And second thing is, keep it simple. Many people who are going to look at your deck are going to do it maybe while they are on a plane, looking at from an iPhone, or maybe you're meeting someone at a reception of an event or a seminar, a congress. You don't have 5 minutes to do a good first impression. You have 30 seconds. And what many people fails to understand is they should have a 30-second speech, a 3-minute version, and a 1-hour version of the same topic. And you don't tell me the same things in 30 seconds or in 1 hour. You need to exactly distill the few key things which are important to make me be hooked. You need to stop me and make me say, wow. So when someone can tell me in a couple of sentences what they're doing, and I can understand, and I can see a market to be disrupted, I'm like, wow. That's when I really fall in love with an idea, and then I can start or continue the conversation. When people take 10 minutes to give me all the technical background, I'm lost before you can tell me what you're going to build. So I think the power of being concise, know which information are critical for someone and which ones are not. We had this conversation 1 hour ago on some other businesses. Tell people the one key thing which will make them say, wow, and then tell them all the rest, secondary message number 3, number 4, which are all ancillary messages. And that ability in business telling is critical, because you open the conversation and your chance to continue after the first 30 seconds depends on how you open the conversation. That's to me the most important point.
100%. We used to say, and actually when we run the workshop, we keep saying that you don't have to tell a story based on what you want to tell your audience. You need to tell your audience what they need to take the action you're looking for. Otherwise, exactly the example of the equation, I'm sure that you know about it, but it doesn't make a change on the audience if you start with that. So fully agree with that.
And on this, Anto, one other thing is you might have different ways to position your company, and different people might resonate to different messages, but then you need to customize that to the audience. I give you an example. REBO is can be a couple of different things for different people. First of all, is a smart bottle which keeps your hydration under tracking, and that's amazing. So if you're speaking to a sportman or a sport company, that's what you want to use first. At the same time, REBO also collects 1 bottle of plastic from the ocean every time you drink, which is a very different angle. If you're speaking to WWF, maybe that's what you want to highlight. And if you're speaking to Adidas, maybe you use a different pitch. And if you use the wrong pitch with the wrong user, you're not going to make it. Therefore, your chance to understand your audience, who you're talking to, what is the pain point of your audience, and what is close to their heart, is what is also playing a huge role in your pitch. If you use the wrong pitch, you're not going to make it, because they're going to react to a different input.
Yeah, of course. I remember with REBO, you ran also a crowdfunding campaign, right? Indiegogo, right?
That's a very important element, because we have a huge vision. But before becoming a huge company and fulfill a huge vision, you need to make sure you can do the very first small step, which is, convince your first 1,000, 100, 10 clients, get there and get insights on why they like you and why they bought you, and show the people, show the world that someone is going to buy your service or product. That's why we ran a crowdfunding campaign. We had the number one, the need to demonstrate market traction. And number two, we wanted to learn. And indeed, the initial backers are helping us a lot with feedbacks, ideas, suggestions. So indeed, we ran an Indiegogo campaign. I think it was at the beginning of 2020. We sold 4,000 bottles in less than 2 months. And that's a good validation. Then we closed the campaign. Then we went into engineering, production, fulfillment. That's fine. But when you're speaking to an investor or to a business partner, and of course you're no one because you're not even in the market yet, and they're like, why would anyone buy what you're telling me you're going to build? You can say, hey, you know what? Don't take my word for it. 4,000 people agreed with me in the space of 50 days. So when you can show a positive example, it doesn't matter the scale. It doesn't matter how small it can be. It's 10 times better versus telling people you're going to disrupt a 10 billion market just because you're going to build the most amazing thing ever, but no one ever bought it from you. And it might be a small city, a small neighborhood, a university, a class, it doesn't matter, but get traction, get someone to love your product. And then everything else will come after it, because first you can tell people, hey, someone really believe what I'm building is cool. And second, you will never be perfect. And if you wait to be perfect before you're launching something, you will never launch. Just get it done, get a minimum lovable product, get it out in the market, get it in the hands of people, and then adjust. And it will be a never-ending journey. But if you never launch it, you will never know. And in that case, Indiegogo was our way to do it. I'm sure other smart people might have a small test in another small community, but that's a big recommendation for everyone, in my opinion.
100% traction. It's probably, if you're not the number one of the top 3, definitely element that when you listen to a pitch, immediately drive trust. When you see traction, it's a driver for trust.
To argue with traction.
Yeah, exactly. They are numbers, so you're safe. Francesco, I would like to talk with you for a second in business storytelling of the power of momentum. And the reason why I would like to talk with you about it is you told us about REBO. And by the way, what's the URL, the website where people can find more information if they're interested in REBO?
REBO-bottle.com. You will see everything there. Yeah.
Very good. So you talk about REBO, and REBO is, you describe it well, is about hydration and also cleaning the ocean in a moment where plastic pollution is a very, big worry for the globalization, for the whole world. Then you told us about the blockchain space and Bitcoin in a moment there was a revolution for the, financial industry. So I have the feeling you have kind of a good intuition for finding a project that is surfing the momentum. So I think you are the right person to talk about how important is to find the right project in the right moment.
Yeah. I think the common trait across the different things I created or tried to create and launch and grow is understand the future vision. It sounds easy, and it's always easy in hindsight, but actually one thing which I learned the hard way is being right is overstated. It's not that important. Being right, it doesn't matter. What matters is two things, in my opinion: how much money you make when you're right, and how much money you lose when you're wrong. And you might be right 1% of the time, maybe 10%, but if you make 50x the money you lose
Yeah.
versus when you lose, that's fine. That's weighted average, and that's not it's not a number of times you're right.
Yeah.
So first of all is how much you make when you're right, and that's number one. Number two is be right at the right time, because timing is essential. And I've been in businesses which had an amazing vision, but they were simply too early for people to understand. And if you're very early, you need to be able to survive financially for a couple of years before people understand your vision. And that's not easy. Another thing, which is, I mean, that's the financial aspect. The other element, which is also very important, and it's very hard for many people, is you need to be comfortable being wrong for a long time. And that might sound silly, but you're always wrong until you're right. And if you are not wrong at the beginning, you are not innovating. You are simply following the crowd. And normally you don't make much money or create value if you're just doing what everyone else is doing. But if you're doing something different, chances are they will tell you you're wrong. And being told constantly that you're wrong is not funny. And people laugh at you, and people ridicule what you are saying because they don't see what you see. They don't see where the market is going. And knowing where the market is going means connecting different dots: macroeconomic, microeconomics, financials, consumer insight, trends. It always seems easy in hindsight, but it's never obvious at the beginning. And if you are not comfortable being told you're wrong consistently for a couple of years, you're not going to make it. And you were making an example of cryptocurrency and blockchain. I remember in 2016, I was still in Procter & Gamble, and I was studying this, and I fell in love into the overall tech. And I was giving conferences in Procter & Gamble, simply giving seminars because I wanted people to understand and to learn more. And the attendance was pretty good, by the way. People was interested. But when I left, almost everyone told me, "You're crazy. I mean, what is this thing? What is this Bitcoin? What is this blockchain? What is this crypto thing? Which fund are you going to launch?" And then if you fast forward 3 years, I mean, now all the most important banks and companies in the world are somehow involved in this, from Tesla to MicroStrategy. I mean, this became a normal topic, I would say. But I was wrong for 3 years in people's mind. And that's always the case. If you're not wrong at the beginning, you should question whether what you're doing is innovative enough and whether there's enough value in it.
Yeah.
But that's an emotional journey as well.
No, definitely. It's I mean, being right, get ready to be wrong, for a long time, and to stick into that, and to stick in your vision is something that can be very painful. Based on my experience too, in other speaker that we invited, sometimes the journey is a real roller coaster. As I said, there is emotions attached to that, so it can become sometimes tough to get, to have this vision as a North Star, really provide you the direction. It's not always easy to do it, but definitely it's powerful when you make it. And I remember actually I was laughing because I was attending one of the conferences, one of the few times that you were talking about Bitcoin and blockchain. And probably, because I have this business storytelling angle and business storytelling interest, I remember that people got interested about it also because you were able to simplify quite a lot. And in this direction, I would like to ask you another question. It is, sometimes we see stories that are pretty complex. People, like to put a lot of information and they forget to share the vision. The real North Polar that you said is the direction you should keep following. But they get attracted here and there. And then in the pitch deck, they try to put everything together. And as an audience, I mean, I can't count so how many times I could see some very interesting element. There were so many directions taken because there were some opportunities here and there. Then instead of showing me that there is a big size of the prize at the end, it was make me doubt about, you know, how clear is the direction they are taking and how complexity is a real enemy of action. Mm-hmm. So what's your perspective on complexity?
Complexity kills companies, and you know, it's difficult to manage because when you're an entrepreneur, you have way more ideas than time and resources. So pursuing different ideas and pursuing different deals, partnerships, new markets is always a temptation. But you need to keep a clear and clean mind to focus on the one thing which makes the difference. And that's true in the business, and it's true in your pitch deck. And one thing which I like as a sentence, it's not mine, I don't know who wrote that, but is, sorry for sending you a long email, I didn't have time to write you a short one.
Yeah.
And the point is, being simple is complex. Being simple, concise, and to the point requires mastering the topic, mastering and articulating the different complexities and distilling everything in a few powerful words for people. And this takes time. But there's also a testament of someone's knowledge and mastery of a specific topic. If you listen to Stephen Hawking discussing physics, it doesn't bother you with complex equation. It tells you simple things, simple words on the origin of the universe. That's when you understand people is so into the topic that they are able to make you understand even if you know nothing about it. And as an entrepreneur and as an investor, that's when you also feel more comfortable because you're putting your time, resources on someone which knows what they're talking about. And in business, if you don't have this clarity, you will always end up with a lot of different stream of work which maybe don't add much value. And of course, you can go back to the typical 80-20 rule. You can go even to a 95-5 rule in entrepreneurship at the beginning of a company. There are very few things which make a difference.
Yeah.
And but it is very complex because if you're an entrepreneur, you are typically number one, passionate, and number two, optimist. Otherwise, you would not be an entrepreneur. And therefore, it's really a significant effort to say no to multiple things and be focused on the one thing that makes a difference and consistently keep repeating that until you're done. Yeah. I struggle with this every day.
So, Francesco, we don't have a lot of time left, but I mean, I would keep listening to some of the stories that you are sharing with us. But even, I mean, more important, I would say, for the audience listening to the talk is, I mean, you said you are an investor. So think for a second that you are pitching or actually looking at different pitches, you know, and you want to invest some money. My question for you is, if you can provide three actionable takeaways, usually we say, for people that would be, you know, they would have to create a pitch deck that could come to your desk and be evaluated to receive money. Where do you think they should start with? Which are the three key steps they should follow to really, you know, start with the right mindset to create their story, their pitch deck, their journey?
Sure, there are many things, but if I have to mention three, I mean, trying to also think about our current discussion, I would say number one, don't tell me why you're right. Tell me why you're right now, and tell me how much money we can make if you're right. Being right per se is overrated. So being right at the right time is what really matters. And that's what I would like to see when we're discussing the creation of a company.
So let me repeat, be right at the right time, right?
Yeah.
Time, key factor.
People focus about being right, but that doesn't matter. You need to be right at the right time. That's my key learning. Number two is you need to really feel comfortable in being wrong for a long amount of time, for a long period of time. And if you're not wrong, you are not doing something which is innovative enough and maybe not so much value in it. So be comfortable being wrong is my second
Be
learning
comfortable, be wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very uncomfortable being comfortable being wrong.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Keep pushing, pursuing your vision. Yeah.
And number 3, I would say vision is amazing, fine, but traction. Show me traction. It doesn't matter the scale, the size, the time. Show me traction. Traction beats everything. It's very difficult to argue with traction. So it doesn't matter what you're building, product, service, geography. Show me traction at any scale.
Fantastic. Traction is definitely, as we said, a big game changer. Is in my experience too, what you can argue with, and also you build so fast trust in your audience that can really feel there is an opportunity to already test something. And I remember there was a quote in a book that I read quite recently. It said, an idea without traction is just a concept. An idea with traction is a business. So when we're talking about business storytelling, try to have traction behind that. Otherwise, it's a concept telling more than a real business telling.
And that's
fantastic,
where you help, to be honest with you. Yeah, that's where business telling always helped me and my partners in different companies, to be honest.
Yeah, fantastic. So unfortunately, the time is over. Francesco, it has been a real pleasure to talk with you. The story you share and your journey actually as a serial entrepreneur is always very interesting to hear. I knew some parts, I got some learning from other parts. So I wish you all the best for your current REBO Bottle journey and also for the other blockchain-based activities. And I'm sure we're going to have other opportunity to talk.
Absolutely. My pleasure, Anto, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you very much. Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Bye.